One of our brothers in our ceremony wrote it. It's called Fire Ceremony. Okay, I'm trying to figure out how to stop playing this. Okay. Great. I'm blessed now with Eric's song. And we will get started. I know it's like holiday times. People are running around. People are traveling. So I really appreciate you guys joining here today. On Wednesday. We missed Sunday because we were sitting in a fire ceremony. But we're starting chapter 18. Every chapter up to this point has really marked incredible points since 2024. It's captured a lot of the, what has been going on. And I have shared basically the things that are happening in my life that are reflecting these great teachings. It was really beautiful. And I'm excited for chapter 18. We have moved on to this chapter called Passing of the Dream, which in chapter 17, the Course talks about the call to faith, setting the goal. It's really the forgiveness and the holy relationship that we begin to develop. But in chapter 18, the Course starts to make a distinction of the dream and the dreamer. And really a big part of our awakening comes from when we recognize what is a dream. And in section 1 today is the substitute reality. So we talk about how the ego substitutes reality with its own things. So for example, with love, the ego creates a substitute reality, which is special love. So we've been talking about special love a little bit. Special love is something that is contractual, transactional. Like if you do this, then I'll be this. If you do that, then I'll be this. And so there's a lot of transactions that happens as a result of it. And really what the ego wants to do, the ego's game plan is, I'm going to give the power of my peace over to you. And then because it can't be given to you, the power can't be given to you in the first place, but because I have this reality that it can be given to you, that relationship is doomed because your peace cannot depend on somebody else. But the ego keeps giving that over. And then because the ego's goal is to create separation. And it knows that if I give this responsibility to this person that they can't fulfill, there is going to be friction, and then then conflict and attack and judgments and all that happens, and ultimately creating this illusion that separation is real. And so that's how special relationships work. First, you come together, you're like, ooh, this person's really interesting. I really like this person. Or maybe it's your sister, your brother, your mother. We create this whole character of who they are in our minds and where they rob us of our peace or where they bring us happiness. It's dependent on someone else's actions, what they do and what they don't do. And that determines the state that I am in. And so if we think about it that way, we're like, oh, okay, well, I know peace is within. I know this is an inner work. Yet, if we look at our lives, how many places do we place our peace in something that is external to us? So we begin to recognize the dream. The dream is also the body, right? It feels like our experience of the world is dictated by how our body experiences it, the touch, the smell, the taste, all of those things. And so we experience the world through this body, which is also a replacement. It's really a teaching device for us to remember, but the ego uses it as the victim to the world. It is evidence that the world is dangerous. Ultimately, what happens to our body is going to die, which creates the idea, the scarcity principle idea, which our entire society and our world operates from. There's this idea of scarcity, even though a part of us always recalls and remembers the truth. This is why we're so drawn to the abundance ideas, to a lot of spiritual practices, because we know deep inside it connects us somewhere there. Now, if we start to look at those spiritual practices and teachings through the lens of the ego and the body and its own principles, then it will be used to serve those purposes nonetheless. Okay, it will be used to serve separation at the end of the day. So there's just two ways to look at things. That's it. One is with love and compassion, and it's all things are either either love or a call for love. So either way, they represent love. Now the ego looks through everything with dual mind, that one is fear, one is love. And so they're opposites. And because they're so opposite and they don't share any similar traits or principles at all, then you have to choose. And even if you choose love over fear, just the idea that fear exists, that your preference is love over something else, creates division in your mind. The ego doesn't care which one you choose as long as you are choosing, because it means at some point you don't prefer this to be true. You don't prefer the fearful part. You shut down this other part of you. As long as that exists, the fact that you choose fear actually choose love actually still amplifies that the fear exists as real. So you see this dilemma that we're kind of in this world, is that and Eastern philosophy, Eastern teachings try to close this gap of this duality, right? They try to bring this together, that there is no right, wrong, true, false, and all of that. There is just this one experience. And so Eastern teachings try to cultivate this through its practices. And in A Course in Miracles, because in Western society, we need more like text. We need more like understanding. We need to analyze more. We don't have this. We less have blind faith than the Eastern cultures. Right? The Eastern cultures are like, this is what we do. This is tradition. This is, we follow this path of non-duality, and we go full on into it. They don't really need as much explanation of everything. But in the Western world, whatever has brought us to where we are here, everybody needs to analyze and understand, and there's so many options, and it's confusing. So A Course in Miracles is a great body of work that basically takes Eastern teaching and Western teachings and is somehow able to marry them together. And actually, the Course has helped me understand the Bible and heal my relationship to God, Jesus, Holy Spirit, the symbols of those words. Okay, so not like now I'm religious in one denomination or follow something blindly in one way. It has helped me resolve my own conflicts around the fact that there is Eastern teaching, Western teaching, that is separate. It's actually really the same. It speaks into the same things. So the other thing that how the ego substitutes reality is through the idea of peace. Peace, again, is something that is given to you. It's your birthright. It exists in every present moment, but the ego's substitute reality for peace is actually control. And so if it controls things, if the environment is controlled, if everything is controlled, then I will be at peace. And so we look to control things. And one of the things that I heard that I really like is we try to rearrange the furniture on the Titanic as the Titanic is going down. Like that's what we think will bring us peace if we rearrange the furniture rather than just getting off the boat or fixing the boat, right? So control is the ego's substitute reality for peace. And then, and it's always the opposite. Literally, the Course says everything that the ego and this world shows you in this dream world, if you flipped it upside down, that's the truth. So, for example, the truth in safety, the Course says that you are safe. Your soul, your essence, the spirit of who you are has always been safe, has never left heaven. And you will always still be safe, even if this body is gone, even if something happens to this body. The safety in the mind that joins with God's mind is always still safe. But the ego, the ego's idea of safety is defense. Right? So we come to the defense of things. Like we have to defend this idea of Alex, which is really this dream idea of Alex in the dream world. My own philosophies, things that I get to be right about, my attachments, my special relationships, special love, all of that. And we come to the defense to those. And this is really, the Course says, it's the only reason why you get upset. You lose your peace because you feel like you have to defend something that actually requires no defense. One of the lines that the Course says is, truth requires no defense. So, anytime we can just check with ourselves in our mind, if we become aware and conscious of just our own thinking, this line of truth requires no defense is a great grounding line, because we often in our minds already are coming to the rebuttal and the defense of things immediately when somebody is saying something, right? So truth requires no defense. But anyways, want to just open up and set an intention for this call here today. I want to presence any challenges that we may be facing ourselves. Challenging relationships, challenging situations. And bringing that to the forefront of our minds, knowing that there is a possibility that sometime on this call here today, that light will be shined into that place. And we will find peace, and it will be healed. So we're bringing to the forefront of our minds any challenging situations. Any fears and doubts about the future. That we have an opportunity on this call here today to recognize the dream, recognize where we are fearful, and allow the teachings of the Course and the conversations that we have here today to not only heal for ourselves, but remembering that healing happens together. That as we have a healing thought on this call here today, that it will be felt amongst everyone on this call, anyone that's watching the replays, and even anyone that hasn't heard anything about this. And may the peace that comes into our minds here today touch every relationship in our lives. Bring more compassion, more kindness, more love to any space that we partake, that We may be walking beacons of light, helping people remember who they are. And as they remember, I remember. And as I remember, they remember. And so it is. Amen. Aho. Okay. We are in chapter 18. So, as we are wrapping up 2025, for me, you guys that have been a part of this journey has seen how challenging 2025 was, and I'll just do a little quick summary of the beginning of the year. It started off with my wife leaving me. It was literally on New Year's Eve. We had this big blowout, and yeah, we couldn't come to a resolution around it. And there was a lot of attack about also me not living A Course in Miracles, me not demonstrating A Course in Miracles in her perception, in her eyes, right? And there was other challenges that we had, and then she moved out. It was really probably the toughest 3 months of my life for the beginning of the year. And then I also, in this last year and a half, since probably around the middle of 2024 to this year, made some poor choices to support and invest into certain things, where I took almost $1 million loss in this 1 year. And so financially, in my relationships, and it's really funny because the chapters that we were going through, the lessons were so magnified in my life to be able to access forgiveness, to be able to access peace, to be able to see the dream world as it's happening right in front of my face. You know, because the years before that, before 2024, things were good. I was making a lot of money. Everything was just kind of flowing well. So it's easy to accept the teachings of the Course when things are all going really good. But when things are challenging, 2025 has been the most challenging year, one of the most challenging years, at least in my memory. And it made the lessons land so much deeper. I prayed so much more. And so 2025 has just been this really interesting year. And I'm ready for 2026. I'm ready for the new chapters that are opening up. So I'm like sneaking look a little bit into the future of what we're reading into. And it seems like it's still going to be telling us, helping me and helping us identify what is the illusions, what is the dream. And I can't wait to get to the places into the section of the book that talks about the happy dream. Like, oh yeah, I'm ready for the happy dream. I'm ready to take all the illusions and turn it into a happy dream. And so that's what the Course is leading us to. And as we probably will finish chapter 18 somewhere in January, every chapter presents like a journey. And so, you know, my invitation is to try and at least watch or make it to all the calls for chapter 18 and see how your life is shaped, and how the lessons go so hand in hand together. You know, as we read each section of chapter 18. So chapter 18 starts with the substitute reality. Then it says the basis of the dream. And then the light in the dream. Okay, let's go, light in the dream. And then what is it asking from us? And the Course asks from us just a little bit of willingness. We don't need to do that much. And of course, in chapter 18, section 5, the happy dream. And then the happy dream goes into beyond the body. And one of the most confusing but simple lines in the Course is, I need do nothing. So that is chapter 18, section 7. I need do nothing. People are like, what do you mean I need do nothing? Just this line itself pisses people off so much in the Course. And then It goes into the little garden and then the two worlds. And that will wrap up chapter 18. So we have, what is it? 9 sections. So basically 9 calls. It'll take us about 5 weeks or so to finish up chapter 18. So it's been really fun. January 1st, 2024, we began the introduction of the course. So all of this is also recorded in YouTube. I think Facebook now deletes my videos after 30 days or something like that. So on the YouTube, I've put it into, you can find it. Just look up Lovely TV, Loveli TV. That's the channel, and all of the lessons and the teachings and stuff are in a playlist. So, or you can just wait till we go around and around again in like 2 years or so, and we start chapter 1 again. But one of the things that we are going to start in the new year, January 1st, is we are also going to add in accountability for doing the workbook, which is 1 lesson a day for 365 days. I think what I'm going to do is have, you can have like a buddy or something like that, and it'll be like a daily check-in. So it's not a lot. It's literally lesson 1 is nothing I see in this room, on the street, from this window, in this place means anything. So all you have to do is apply the practice. You don't need to understand it. You literally say, this table does not mean anything. This chair does not mean anything. The workbook does not care about whether you understand it or not. It says, do the practice and allow the practice itself to teach you. So it says, no more than a minute or so should be attempted. The first 3 lessons should not be done more than twice a day, preferably once in the morning, once in the evening, and should not be attempted for more than a minute or so. I mean, 2 minutes. Lesson 1 requires 2 minutes of our day. And it's interesting because in all my years of studying the course, I have never, and I try to do this every year in January, and I would love accountability to the max this coming up year, 2026. I need an accountability every single day of, hey, did you do the lesson? And let's do that together. Okay, let's make the chat really alive for 2026 every day. Did I do the lesson? Did I do the lesson? It's 2 minutes to 5 minutes, and like we get to give ourselves that every day, Okay, Fraser, what's up, brother? Welcome.
What up? How you doing, bro?
I'm doing great.
Good. It's funny that you brought up forgiveness because I was literally earlier this week kind of contemplating on that because some of this year too for me was about forgiveness. Mm-hmm. And so then I did some research and I remembered a passage from the Bible. And it was about Peter, and Peter asked Jesus, how many times should I forgive someone? And Peter asked, is it 7 times? And Jesus responded, 70 times 7. Well, that's an interesting thing altogether because 70 times 7 is 490. And 490 in Hebrew, every number represents something. A letter, a word, or something. So 490 literally represents the house of bread. Jesus is referred to the house of bread. So when he is saying that, he's basically saying, give it over to God. You know, every time you think you need to forgive someone, just give it over to God. So that's all I wanted to share.
Beautiful. Yes. So because we are and this is what chapter 18 is going to go into, is recognize the dream. From the dream, if you don't recognize the dream, from the dream, even forgiveness itself creates more division and separation. How interesting is that? Because in the world of illusions, the goal is not to forgive. The goal is to create hierarchy, and the goal is to create separation. So in the forgiveness, how our world has it, is I am going to forgive you for what you did to me, right? Whether I say it's good for me or it's good for you, but I'm still going to forgive you for the wrong that you did. Emphasizing the wrong. So it doesn't matter as much, the more work you put into this forgiveness, the bigger it amplifies the wrong that has happened there. So a lot of times we get stuck in this, like doing the work and just constantly trying to forgive it or, work through it. The energy, the idea that something needs to be done with it amplifies its power. So when we say, and this has, everything serves its purpose. Now, when we say we have to do shadow work or work around dark energies and all these things, or we have to remove the dark energies, the idea that you have to remove something makes the illusion more real. And the more effort and the more work you put into it magnifies its hold on you. Now, that's why a lot of times people are like so frustrated. Why does this just keep happening over and over? And it's a cycle as you are doing this work on removing the darkness. Well, the analogy of that we've used here in the past is literally like, let me use a candle, walk into a dark room and just try to light this whole room with this candle. And wherever I go, okay, there's light here. Then I got to walk over here. There's light. Wherever I leave, all of a sudden it's darkness again. Right? And so the more we're trying to this room needs more light and I'm bringing my candles around everywhere, it only magnifies the idea of darkness. Versus, let me open the doors and the windows and just let the light in and the darkness just disappears. That's the difference between forgiveness in our world and forgiveness in what the Course talks about, which is I let go of the idea that somehow I was wrong by something. I forgive you or I forgive the situation for what I thought you did to me but did not do. See how that's different? And now the ego's like, what do you mean? What do you mean? But that did happen. Right? No matter what we do, the ego wants to solidify the idea that it happened. That I was wronged, that I was hurt, that I was betrayed, that I was neglected. You can name it on and on and on. Now, our lives, when we're kids, we're not taught to think this way. We come in purely innocent, full of potential, unlimited potential, and then we get it planted into us all the restrictions and all the illusions from our parents. And we didn't know any better. That's fine. But what has happened was in our subconscious mind, we have created all these stories and patterns. And they are aligning to something. They are aligning to these stories of it's not safe, it's wrong, it's bad, it's false. And so that takes over all of the things that we do. Right, our daily lives, our reactions to things, our story to things, all the traumas and the things that we hold. Right, it comes from this past, and then we try to evaluate the present with the past, which is not here. The Course says the present is the only place that actually exists. It's actually not here. It's the only thing that is here, and that's where peace and healing comes. It's in the present moment. So, anyways, what we're doing here is we are accessing forgiveness for our past, because the past didn't even happen the way that you thought. Can we first accept that? That is one of the realities it's one of the teachings the Course gives to us as a way for us to begin our healing of the past, which is I forgive my past. I give forward. I give it over. I give it forward. I forgive it. I give forth my past that I thought had, these are the events and situations that happen. I give that all over because I couldn't see the bigger picture. I couldn't see what was actually happening. So the Course says what you thought happened in your past did not actually happen the way that you think. And we all have experiences of that. You know, as we access healing for our parents and for people that hurt us, how do we forgive that? We forgive it by saying they didn't know any better. They went through the challenges. They were bullied. They had anger. They had frustration. See, through the sameness, like I feel the compassion, I feel the anger. Only when I fully feel it too, can I access that level of compassion for somebody else. That's the reason for these feelings. Right? That's the reason for us to experience the things we do. When we give it over to God and we see the bigger picture and we see that the separation ends, is I feel these things fully. This is why it is important to feel at this ground level of the body and the world, is so that I can extend compassion to those that are also going through it. So that I may learn what it's like to walk in somebody else's shoes, just even if it's a little bit. And this is our beginning of waking up to love, is to remember, what are all these things for? What is it for? What is this betrayal for? What is this experience of pain for? What is the loss of this person or this thing or this dog or this money or whatever it is? What is all that for? When we realize, when we give it over to God, we realize that it's for the services of joining, of bringing the minds together, of being able to be more compassionate. It gives us the ability, our capacity to be more compassionate, more loving, more kind, is every single one of our experiences. Now, without setting that intention and that goal for ourselves and recognizing that, the ego goes into, the world is not safe. See? It's not safe. All of your fears and all of your past traumas and everything that you carried with you, here's evidence why you can't trust somebody. Here's evidence why the world is unkind. Right? Here's evidence that you're in hell already. And then you got to go and get yours. And as you try to get yours, you just create more separation. And what really matters is the relationships that you create and the people that you meet along the way and how you guys can serve each other. We lose sight of that because we're so worried about people hurting us. Right? So this is really kind of this, I'm just kind of summing up a little bit of teachings from the Course. And as I was reading this section this morning, that's what I wanted to share. But I'm going to go into the read here, and I'll let you guys download your own things. So here's what we're going to do, and then we'll get into the shares. Okay, so at the same time that you're listening to what I'm sharing now and what I'm about to read, allow yourselves to download information, and our information comes in images. Right? What are the images? Who are the people? What are the situations that come to mind as we read here? And my invitation is for us to share it. After we read, I would love for you guys to, just share whatever's on your mind, even if it's a question, even if it's something you're like, I don't get it, or as you're reading, this is what I remember, this is what I experienced, these are the challenges that came to my mind, or the happy thoughts that came to our mind. Either way, by being a part of this here today, we're co-creating the medicine that is remembering. Okay? So I'm going to invite you guys to just take a deep breath in, and on your out breath, just let go of all that we've even talked about up to this point. See if you can just wrap the entire past into one big Santa Claus bag and just put it aside. Every single thing, all the worries, all the stuff, everything in the past, we are putting it aside. And we're going to bring ourselves to this moment, giving gratitude for finally arriving in full presence. And we are ready to receive from the Holy Spirit. Chapter 18, The Passing of the Dream. Section 1, The Substitute Reality. To substitute is to accept instead. But if you would but consider exactly what this entails, you will perceive at once how much at variance this is with the goal the Holy Spirit has given you and will accomplish for you. To substitute is to choose between, renouncing one aspect of the sonship in favor of the other. For this special purpose, one is judged more valuable than and the other is replaced by him. The relationship in which the substitution occurs is thus fragmented, and its purpose split accordingly. To fragment is to exclude, and substitution is the strongest defense the ego has for separation. The Holy Spirit never uses substitutes. Where the ego perceives one person as a replacement for another, the Holy Spirit sees them joined and indivisible. He does not judge between them, knowing they are one. Being united, they are one because they are the same. Substitution is clearly a process in which they are perceived as different. One would unite, the other separate. Nothing can come between what God has joined and what the Holy Spirit sees as one, but everything seems to come between the fragmented relationships the ego sponsors to destroy. The one emotion in which substitute is impossible is love. Fear involves substitution by definition, for it is love's replacement. Fear is both a fragmented and fragmenting emotion. It seems to take many forms, and each one seems to require a different form of acting out for satisfaction. While this appears to introduce quite the variable behavior, a far more serious effect lies in the fragmented perception from which the behavior stems. No one is seen complete. The body is emphasized with special emphasis on certain parts and used as the standard for comparison of acceptance or rejection for acting out a special form of fear. So the Course right here is saying that the ego uses the body to create comparison of acceptance and rejection of the look of the body. You who believe that God is fear made but one substitution. It has taken many forms because it was a substitution of illusion for truth, of fragmentation for wholeness. It has become so splintered and subdivided and divided again over and over that it is almost now impossible to perceive it once was one. And still, once was one, and still And still is what it is. The one error which brought truth to illusion, infinity to time, and life to death was all you ever made. Your whole world rests upon it. Everything you see reflects it, and every special relationship that you have ever made is part of it. You may be surprised to hear how very different is reality from what you see. You do not realize the magnitude of that one error. It was so vast and so completely incredible that from it a world of total unreality had to emerge. What else could come of it? Its fragmented aspects are fearful enough as you begin to look at them, but nothing you have seen begins to show you with the enormity of the original error, which seems to cast you out of heaven, to shatter knowledge into meaningless little bits of disunited perceptions, and to force you to make further substitutions. That was the first projection of error outward. The world arose to hide it, and became the screen on which it was projected and drawn between you and the truth. For truth extends inwards, where the idea of lost is meaningless, and only increase is conceivable. Do you really think it's strange that a world in which everything is backwards and upside down arose from this projection of error? It was inevitable, for truth brought to this could only remain within a quiet within the quiet, and they take no part in all the mad projection by which this world was made. Call it not sin, but madness, for such it was, and so it still remains. Invest it not with guilt, for guilt multiplies it. For guilt implies it was accomplished in reality, and above all, be not afraid of it. So all these illusions and all these things, the Course says, if we invest in guilt, it implies that it actually was accomplished, that the reality of heaven was actually replaced by the world that we created. So 1, don't add more guilt to it. 2, be not afraid of it, because an illusion is still just an illusion. When you seem to see some twisted form of original error rising to frighten you, you say only, God is not fear, but love, and it will disappear. The truth will save you. It has not left you to go to go out into the mad world and so depart from you. Inward is sanity. Insanity is outside you. But you believe it is the other way, that truth is outside and error and guilt within. Your little senseless substitutions, touched with insanity and swirling lightly off on the mad course like feathers dancing insanely in the wind, have no substance. They fuse and merge and separate in shifting and to meaningless patterns that need not be judged at all. To judge them individually is pointless. Their tiny differences in form are no real differences at all. None of them matter, that they have in common and nothing else. Yet, what else is necessary to make them all the same? So here's a really, really big part that is confusing sometimes for students of the Course, is that every one of your problems and all of the illusions that you hold, they're not different, right? We seem to think that every single illusion and every problem needs its own answers. This is the ego's goal, is seek but do not find. So problem needs a specific solution, then another problem arises from the same illusion and it needs another solution, and again and again and again. So the Course right here is saying to try to judge them all individually is pointless. Their tiny differences in form are no real difference at all. So we can say money, relationships with people, and there's a lot of things that are all different forms. It looks different, but it still creates the same experience of worry, fear, anxiety, all of that. The Course says those things are really all the same. Their tiny differences in form have no real differences at all. None of them matter. They have that they have in common and nothing else. So the little things that really is just a form. What else is necessary to make them all the same? So the Course is teaching us to stop the delay. Okay, the delay is run around, one problem, one solution, one problem, another solution, another problem, another solution. One of the workbook lessons that we'll get to is let me recognize the problem so that it can be solved. Right now we're not recognizing the problem. We think the problem is this person is not respecting me, that person hurt me, this situation didn't work out, and there's just there's a million different things in our lives. Let me recognize the problem so that it can be solved. The problem was the original idea that you substituted illusions for reality. Right? It's the one tiny little thing that we did was we fragmented truth and we separated that over and over and over again. We created this world basically that we see, and it's based on the scarcity principle. Everything's dying, everything's losing, everything's out to hurt me, and it's unsafe. We created this one world. That one original tiny mad idea, that's the one problem. And the Course says, the second lesson after that is, let me recognize the problem has already been solved. You thought you fell from heaven. The Course says that problem, it never was. You fell asleep. You created one separation idea. You took it too seriously. And now a whole world, a whole movie that was created for that one initial initial tiny mad idea that you took seriously. And so this is why laughter actually is one of the cures, and it's healing for everything, is because when you can laugh about something, you don't take it as seriously, but because once we take it seriously, it becomes like encoded into us, and it affects all our decisions moving forward, which is what the Course says. That's what we did. So now that we have taken all of our problems and we recognize that the same problem, okay, what else is necessary to make them all the same? So the Course says, all right, let's make all of these the same first. All of your illusions, your scarcity, your fears, and everything, they're really all the same. Let's make them all the same. Let them all go, dancing in the wind, dipping and turning until they disappear from sight far, far outside of you. And turn you to the stately calm within, where in the holy stillness dwells the living God that you never left and who never left you. The Holy Spirit takes you gently by the hand and retraces with you your mad journey outside yourself, leading you gently back to the truth and safety within. He brings all your insane projections and wild substitutions that you have placed outside of you to the truth. Thus, he reverses the course of insanity and restores you to reason. In your relationship with your brother, where he has taken charge of everything at your request, he has set the course inward to the truth you share. In the mad world outside you, nothing can be shared but only substituted. And sharing and substituting have nothing in common in reality. Within yourself, you love your brother with a perfect love. Here is holy ground in which no substitution can enter, and where only the truth in your brother can abide. Here you are joined in God, as much together as you are with him. The original error has not entered here, nor ever will. Here is the radiant truth, to which the Holy Spirit has committed your relationship. Let him bring it here, where you would have it be. Give him but a little faith in your brother to help him show you that no substitute you made for heaven can keep you from it. Sorry, one sec. In you, there is no separation, and no substitute can keep you from your brother. Your reality was God's creation, and that has no substitute. You are so firmly joined in truth that only God is there, and he would never accept something else instead of you. He loves you both equally and as one, and as he loves you, so you are. You are not judged together in illusions, but in the thought so holy and so perfect that illusions cannot remain to darken the holy place in which you stand together. God is with you, my brother. Let us join, my sister. Let us join in him in peace and gratitude and accept his gift as our most holy and perfect reality, which we share in him. Heaven is restored to all the sonship through your relationship, for in it lies the sonship, whole and beautiful, safe in your love. Heaven has entered quietly, for all illusions have gently been brought onto the truth in you, and love has shined upon you, blessing your relationship with truth. God and his whole creation have entered it together. How lovely and how holy is your relationship, with the truth shining upon it. Heaven beholds it and rejoices that you have let it come to you. And God himself is glad that your relationship is as it was created. The universe within you stands with you, together with your brothers and sisters. And heaven looks with love on what it is joined in, along with its creator. Whom God has called should hear no substitutes. Their call is but an echo of the original error that shattered heaven. And what became of peace is those who heard. In those who heard. Return to me to heaven, walking together with your brothers and sisters out of this world and through another, to the loveliness and joy the other holds within it. Would you still further weaken and break apart what is already broken and hopeless? Is it here that you will look for happiness? Or would you not prefer to heal what has been broken and join in making whole what has been ravaged by separation and disease? You have been called, together with your brothers and sisters, to the most holy function this world contains. It is the only one that has no limits and reaches out to every broken fragment of the sonship with healing and uniting comfort. This is offered you in your holy relationship. Accept it here, and you will give as you have accepted. The peace of God is given you with the glowing purpose in which you join together with your brothers and sisters. The holy light that brought you and him together must extend as you accept it. So we are being called with the most holy of functions that the world contains, which is to one that has no limits and reaches out to every single sonship, uniting everybody. All right, so we're here to accept the call, and as we truly accept the call, which is like when we recognize our own healing, we cannot help but extend that outwards. And this is how the function of our vessel, of who we are, is whatever is real that we perceive, whatever is real in the mind, we will project it out in one way or another. It's automatic. So what will you put in this subconscious, in this mind of yours, in this subconscious mind of yours, is what will you put in it? Because whatever is in there, it will automatically extend out to the rest of the world. Because that's how this body works. Right? So if you carry fear with you, if you carry the world is not safe, you can't even help yourself but to inject that into every relationship and every place that you go into. That's why the Course says, God is in everything I see because God is on my mind. And we know this to be true, right? Like we recognize this in ourselves, that when we have fear, we bring fear wherever we go. We see every situation as fearful. And we all know people that are fearful of everything. And we also know people that are loving and trusting of everything. And so both can't help but to be teachers. Now, one seems to be teaching fear, the other one seems to be teaching love, but what God says is one is a call for love and the other one is love, so they're really the same thing. And if they're really the same thing, then now our mind is healed into oneness, into the mind of God, which is extended and connecting to all. Even if somebody is rude, mean, unkind, vicious, they are still literally teaching us something. So as seen in the light with the Holy Spirit, it serves the one purpose of love and of joining. Right? Regardless if they're vicious and they're angry, judgmental, whatever it is, and then there's somebody else here that's like, oh my God, this person's the light of the world. They literally both are teaching the exact same thing to the Holy Spirit. Right? There is no separation between those two. But to us, when we are not grounded in walking with Spirit, then we see them as separate. Right? Does that make sense? So, yeah, I'd love to open it up now for any shares. Anybody have thoughts, shares, all that? Anything alive for anybody here? Yes, Jill. Oh, all right. Okay, Vicky, you go first.
Wait until after Jill.
You can go first. You can go first.
Well, first off, thank you, Alex. This is exactly what I needed today. I had been feeling the fear inside me rising up as I realized I know that people are triggered by my light and by my ability to like be embodied and like experience and embrace things like pleasure. And it's been bringing up like this fear in me of like especially because like it seems like it's kind of like a back and forth kind of things. People will be in the moments with me and be excited to be there with me, and then at the same time they'll turn around and be like, "Ooh, shame, guilt," and I'm just like, "Oh, what just happened?" Like, you know, we just had an amazing experience together, and like there was only love and light in it, and just like that feeling of like having people see me as like this dark force, which I'm totally okay with. I see the light and the dark in myself, and I'm totally okay with it. But I've been having this fear come up in me as like a feeling of like stop trying. Like, you know, you can cut your ties and you can just walk the other way. Like it's early enough to not get yourself entangled in what could be like a heartbreak. But that doesn't even stand with like my true beliefs of like love is worth it always. Like even if there is heartbreak, like it's worth it because you experienced it in the moment and that's what you're supposed to do. But I've been feeling like yesterday and today this overwhelming feeling of fear of maybe I should just stop trying. So this message is definitely landing for me of just the remembering that nothing matters. And I have a choice that I could live in that fear and let it be my path forward, or I can choose love and let that be my compass. So that's kind of what landed for me. So thank you.
Yeah, beautiful. And as you were sharing that, and thank you for sharing that too. As you were sharing that, I was thinking about a conversation that my wife and I just recently had. So she is trying to be very productive. You know, she's in this program that I'm running called Legends Leaders, and they're, you know, getting their speech together. They're creating their program, and they're going to be speaking on our stage. And as she's like, "Oh my God, there's so much work and so much stuff to do," and then, you know, I come from my office, I go to her room to just say hi, and you know, she's watching Netflix. You know, like full on into a show, and I know that what it's going to happen is she's going to get really upset with herself and she's going to beat herself up, and then she's going to try to set this crazy routine for herself that's insanely no way to accomplish it. Her list of morning routine, I'm like, my morning routine, I cut it shorter and shorter and shorter. It used to be like 30 minutes. Now it's like 4 minutes. My morning routine is 4 minutes long. You know, it's just a prayer and just really grounding into that. What I'm doing here is to be of service to the world. If I am not making the world a better place, I have forgotten what I'm doing here. And that's literally just my reminder to set the intention for the day. And so when I went into the room and she was like, "Oop," she's like, "I'm watching this show." I'm like, "Okay, are you really enjoying it?" She's like, "Yes." I'm like, "Are you loving it?" She's like, "Yes." I'm like, "Okay, let's make a pact." All right. So I'm setting, this is what the course in chapter 17 says. You got to set the intention and set the goal. As that was happening, I was like, let's set a goal. We make a pact that you are just going to love every moment of this, and you're not going to beat yourself up later when you look back at it. So we did a little pinky swear thing, and it never happened, right? But what we do is we go and we're just doing something, and then later on when we look back on it, because we didn't set the intention of what it was for, we forgot. Then we look back at it like, oh my God, I wasted my time. I wasted my day. I judged this and I judged that. There's heartbreak, there's guilt, there's shame. All of that comes up. So as you were sharing that, kind of that came up for me just in that conversation. I know it's different in form, but it's really kind of the same too, right? As you're experiencing the pleasure and all of that with someone, you can like insert in there a intention that we set, a goal that we set that will make sure that all of this joy and pleasure and everything stays in its purity, that it doesn't get tainted looking back, because this is how the ego does. If you don't set the intention, if you don't set the goal, what happens is the ego will interpret for you every single time. The moment you don't consciously do it and walk with spirit in this present moment, when you look back on it, looking back is what the ego does. The Holy Spirit does not live in the past. So when we look back, it will always be interpreted by the ego. And what's the ego's main goal? separation. What's its weapon? Guilt and shame. And so if you do not set an intention, then 100% of the times the ego will interpret for you when you look back, and it's going to be met with guilt and shame. And then from there, it taints the present moment. So yeah, I don't know. Thank you for sharing that, because it brought a reminder for Love and I. Yeah.
Yeah, thank you so much for sharing that, because I appreciate you so much, and how every time I come to these meetings, I feel like I literally take away a tangible tool. And thinking in retrospect to that same experience that I was describing, 100%, if I would had went into it, and I know, like, as the leader in these spaces, I have to be the one who's like, okay, like, yes, we are about to have an amazing, like, fun, sexy time, and let's set the intention so that we don't go into it later and like have guilt and shame. Like, that is a really good tool. So thank you for sharing that with me.
Yeah. Thanks to the course that we just literally went through it. So
yeah,
perfect timing. Yeah. It's, the course reminds us that we get to, there's never a time that is not good for us to remember, to pray, and to call in and set the intentions, because we have so many things that we're doing and our mind is pulled by so much. And so, yeah. Beautiful. Thank you for that share. Jill, and also thank you for having your camera on. I appreciate that. You and Michelle. I feel like it gives me energy. So I love it. Jill, go ahead. Hi.
Morning. Hi. Thank you. So I really do like the intention setting. I think and even if the intentions, like, for example, sometimes I make an intention and I'll make an intention of like, oh, I'm going to have the best day of my life kind of thing, like something like that. And I have an idea of what that might look like, but it comes in another form. You know what I mean? Like when I make an intention, but in my mind, I'm thinking what that might be, it comes in another form. And I don't recognize that it actually has come until later when I look at it like that. But I think the intention setting is so important because of space. The ego will come in to fill a blank space. It's either going to be God or the ego that's going to come in and fill something. God does not like a void, is what I used to say. God does not like a void. So he will always fill a void. But if you have an intention, he will fill it, I believe, in that way. So I think it's really important to set intentions, and I appreciate that. Mm-hmm. In regards to the lesson today, what I had happen, I did Art Basel. It was fabulous this week. And I had something come up with some friends that I made up a story about. And I feel like the most important thing, and a plane's flying overhead. I don't know what's going on, but it's really loud, so I apologize, which is why I've been turning off things.
I don't hear it.
I feel like the most important thing is communication. So because there was a lack of communication, which left a void, which left me to my own devices to make up a story. And that story was not one that was a good one, that was supportive of me. So, and then afterwards, when I sort of put together, without knowing really the truth, but in my mind, I sort of put it together. I did a kind of gratitude training clearing kind of thing. Here's the story I made up. Here are the rewards that I get from it. Here are the benefits. Here's the old story, all this stuff. But I think that for me, well, being Gemini also is really an important thing that gives the void where I would make up a story. If I had the communication going, then I wouldn't have a story to make up. So I think that's like for myself, that's a really important factor. Like always to have this communication, find out what's really going on. Why did this happen like this? Because I'm going to make up a story if I don't know. And that's about all, but I really appreciate you, and I love that.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you for sharing that. And you brought up this clearing, which we did in the trainings, which is something that I still do also. Right? It's like what happened, and then what I made up about what happened, and then what are the, you know, the things that I get for making that story up, and then what's the new relationship that I'm willing to step into with it, and then so it's a great clearing process.
Yeah, it's such a good exercise. You know, it's such a good reminder of that we're just making up stories. When we do the here's what happened part of that story, we're just giving the facts. Here are the facts. This person came into the this person did this. So the facts are just the facts, you know, and whatever the story is that you make up about what actually just happened is really just a bunch of BS in some cases.
Well, it's to separate fact and interpretation, right? So it's our perception, our interpretations of things, just like what we're doing in this section of the course is talking about the passing of the dream. So the dream and the dreamer is basically the same thing as the facts and the interpretations of the facts, right? So like when we can separate those things, the goal in this chapter is to recognize the dream, recognize the interpretations, because I'm never upset at the facts or the situation. I'm upset at my interpretations of it. So the first step is to make sure that they're separate. Right, because what we do is we collapse these things. When someone says something mean, it's like there is the act itself, and then there is the soul, the Christ consciousness in this person. Right, there's the brother, and then there's the acts. And because we collapse these things, we think that the brother is actually the act. Right, and so now what we're doing is we're uncollapsing. And actually, this is something that we're going to be doing at the Breakthrough event in January. I'm writing and creating a whole process around this. So thank you for that reminder. Again, January 8th to the 10th, guys. I see a lot of you guys here that actually already have the tickets are coming. Great. If not, definitely worth coming January 8th to the 10th in Vegas, Henderson. You know, a lot of our A Course in Miracles community will be there. A lot of our real estate community will be there. And also our legendary community and Purple Eagle community will be there. All right, so we're calling the tribes together. Now I just get my brothers and sisters from Peru to come at some point. So then the Sacred Valley tribe will be there. And that will complete my tribes. Well, a portion of it. The ones that are important to me now. And so we're uncollapsing these two things. We recognize the dream, and then we recognize that we're the dreamer. So that means if I recognize that truly, then I can also see that in my brother. My brothers and sisters, they're the dreamer, and all these other things that are happening is the dream, and now I can uncollapse those things, and I don't go to war with the brother, with somebody. Right, I can have my interpretations around, you know, what they said and how they're experiencing, and maybe whatever guilt and stuff that they're bringing to the table. Okay, well, that is separate from the essence and the truth of who they actually are. So that's why the Course says the practice is to see Christ consciousness, or you can say the higher self or spirit or whatever you want to call it. That doesn't matter, but to see the light in somebody. To see the light in somebody is the way that you awaken the light in yourself. You continue to grow this light in yourself by seeing it in others. And then also, since there are no separations, it's also the same that if you start to see the light in yourself, you will see it in others as well. Because this relationship, there is no separation in it. It's in your mind, whatever you see, whatever you think, you will see. Projection makes the perception, not the other way around. So think about how we do life is I perceive how you're dealing and how you're speaking to me, and now my experience is this, And then I project it back out by saying, you are not safe, and I am going to cut you off, and separation happens. So that's what we think the order is. But the order actually is I project outwards that you could be somebody that is unsafe. And so you say something to me that is in alignment to my belief about the fact that people can be unsafe and dangerous and they'll break my heart, all those things. I project it outwards already on somebody that they're capable of hurting me. And of course, the special relationship is the way that the ego does it. So here you go. Here's my heart on a silver platter. You better hold it up in the air for the rest of your life. And I don't care if your arm gets tired or not. You better not drop this thing. And of course, somebody's going to end up dropping it because it's not theirs. Right? And so we project it out there. And then we perceive it back. So when we can write that order, we upside down it, right? Cause and effect. First, I thought it's the world that causes my pain. It's this person that causes me to be distrusting. It's this person that I feel betrayed that makes me feel the world's unsafe. It's not that. We cause and effect. I believe that this world is unsafe. And then I look for evidence for it, right? The cause comes inwards first. What is on your mind, what you have made real, you will look out into the world. And the world is simply a feedback for what you have made real in your mind first. See, this is about us writing the order in our mind. And it's important that we do that because now I know I am the dreamer. I am the one that is dreaming it. And if I am the one that's dreaming it, then I now have the power to choose something else. Thank God that I am upset at an interpretation. Because that means who interpreted it? Me. Great. If I interpret it one way, then I can interpret it another way. Yes, now I have the power. Right? So this is about reclaiming our power so we remember who we are. And then from that place also is to recognize this journey that we're on in our own mind so that we can offer compassion out to other people that are experiencing something that is different or, same, that they're behaving from the same patterns that we have behaved from. So when we really take in a lesson for ourselves, this is why the Course says every situation, every day, what is it for? What is it for? What is it for? And when we realize that it's for the purposes, until you realize that it is for the purposes of joining the entire sonship, the Course calls, so it's all of our brothers and sisters, it's about joining. Until you realize it's about joining, then you have to continue giving this over to Spirit and to God, because right now you're interpreting it from the space of the ego. Fear is going to arise. You're going to want to quit. You're going to want to, just shut off, disconnect. And this is what happens in relationships all the time, is withdrawing from the relationship. Right? Every body of work out there, the nonviolent communication, Queen's Code, all of these things are talking about communication so that you don't disempower somebody and cause the shutdown. But really, when we go all the way to the top of this, it's just for us to recognize the way that we do things, the way we react to things, and the way we interpret things. All the work out there is to reflect back for you. Because you can say anything, you can use all the tools of nonviolent communication and Queen's Code and all that, but if your intentions are not there, it is just manipulation. And in that, people will still experience the disconnect. Right? So it's the way that we do everything that's what matters. It's not what we do, it's the way that we do it. Okay, so yeah, thank you. I felt really passionate about talking about this stuff today, so must be something in the soup that we're making here. Okay, thanks for being here. You're always such a great contribution to the space. Looking forward to seeing you again soon. All right, what else? We got about 12 more minutes. This has been a really awesome call. Also, very soon, we will be starting our Purple Eagle Tribe Alchemy of Self. So that's going to be a really great journey. The last call that we did was with Adam and Claudia, and we talked about it. So if you are wondering what that is, you can refer back to that video. Yes. So
I am liking to say something right now. Thanks. Thanks,
hey,
Alex. Hi, everyone. Jill, you look quite savvy today. Just wanted to acknowledge your visual appearance. As shared last week, this big shift, and it's beautiful how the course has kind of walked with us this whole year and kind of walked us into this shifting. But I kind of made an announcement C to C with my whole team and let them know that I'm making shifts. So I'm opening space for February, and I'm just very excited and proud of myself for choosing to move and to groove again in the world. So, and I'm also excited about Alchemy of Self. I made an intention to fill out my submission for that today. So I'm planning to do that, whether today I'm going to set the intention to get it done. So thank you so much.
awesome. Yeah, I'm going to do the same. Um, yeah, I love that you said the course has been walking with us. And this is what in the course it mentions that there will come a point where you realize, and this is the part of the development of trust, you come to a point where you realize that wherever you go, you no longer ever walk alone. And it's just really beautiful that you said the course has been walking with us, right? It's like God and Spirit walks with us wherever we go. And all we need to do is call upon. We invite Spirit in. We fill the space by inviting the Spirit in. Yeah. Okay. Anything
Alex,
else?
did you
Yes.
talk to in the author's room?
Yes.
Okay.
So
All right, I'll see.
yes. Awesome.
And congrats on Jill, on your Art Basel. I watched the videos. It looked like such a nice time. So beautiful in there.
Oh, it was amazing. Thank you. Thank you, Michelle. It was pretty cool. It was really good.
Beautiful.
Mhm.
Let's see what else.
Well, my best friend who gives the best quotes from Course in Miracles, the one that says, she just came into town last night. We just had such a freaking laugh. And her daughter's breaking up with somebody, and so she planned the whole breakup. The mother did, who's my best friend. And she did it so seamlessly. And then we played the Lizzo song, Truth Hurts. Have you heard it? It's
Yes.
hilarious. And so we were just like, had the best time. But I was thinking she should come to this call because she could lay some really good bombs.
Oh, great.
And she's 79, but we have a book, the family, her son and her daughter, and well, actually her daughter and me mostly, and it's called The Old Testament. And it's a takeoff obviously on the Old Testament, but her kids call her old because she always goes, I'm so old. And so they call her old. So we call the book The Old Testament, and it's little bombs like, to think you're going to get ecotexture done in your lifetime is just impatience. Like she has really good ones.
Oh man, that would be amazing. She should
I'll try and
definitely.
she's a really good reader. She knows a lot of the book. Like she's a Urantia total scholar, but she also is a really good reader of she's the one that introduced me to everything, a long time ago.
Oh,
So
what's her name?
yeah, Kathleen Reynolds. Katie.
Katie. Okay, great.
I'll see if I can get her here one of these days.
All right. Well, now I remember.
It'll just come out of nowhere. She probably won't say anything.
All right, cool. That's gonna be great. I look forward to that day. All right, so we got about 5 more minutes here. What else? Oh, so I guess I'll just share a little.
I just want to share a little bit
Oh, yes,
that I put
please.
in the chat.
You
Yes.
share. What?
So, oh, my video is not turning on. Oh, yeah, I did.
There you
So,
are.
hi, everybody. Hi, Jill. It's
Hi.
nice seeing you again. So, I put something in the chat about the prize, the Nobel Prize, and I know Jill put a little comment in there. Very close in my heart, and some of the Venezuelans that we have seen the process from the far, far away, and the only thing that we have been able to do is pray for the country, pray for the families that's still there, and pray for the general peace that this process has been going through there. But very beautiful seeing a woman who had, you know, had a commitment of a stand for a whole country with the attached from her own family to be able to, in the clandestine living in Venezuela for about 3 years, and to be recognized as the prize, Nobel Peace Prize is happening in Oslo, Norway right now, is being like a very profound, touching. It's been very beautiful because, as you always say, Alex, is like how you stand for the peace. It's like she had not created any word in the process. She only had called for the love and for standing for everybody, including those that are in their shadows in the process. So, and to create that peace to be able to process in this moment. So it's been very beautiful to watch that. So it's very sensitive for me and for some of the Venezuelan. I think Claudia's too, and her family will have been holding that for a long, long time. So yeah, I just want to share that, and if you can watch it, share and pray, keep praying, because it's still there.
Will do.
There's no end, but it's still there. So I know the prayer is very powerful in any space. So thank you. I posted it here. I put it in our beloved Red Tent group. I posted in Purple Eagle Tribe as well. So it's just for us to keep, that peace in place and rolling. So thank you.
Awesome.
I appreciate
Thank
it.
you for sharing that. Okay. Well, I think it'll be good to wrap it up here with just a lesson from Marianne Williamson. Let's see. Flipping, stop. Okay. All right, so this is 135. On becoming who we really are. Practice kindness, and you start to become kind. Practice discipline, and you start to become disciplined. Practice forgiveness, and you start to become forgiving. Practice charity, and you start to become charitable. Practice gentleness, and you start to become gentle. It doesn't matter whether you're in the mood to be gracious to the bank teller today. Do it anyways, and watch how it begins to affect your mood. Just push the button of the self you wish to be, and the synapses that makes up that personality begins to form. Your best self already exists in the ether, just waiting to be downloaded. We become gracious when we decide to be gracious. We have the power to generate as well as react to feelings, to hone our personalities as we travel through life. In the words of George Eliot, it is never too late to be what you might have been. Wow, that's great. It is never too late to be what you might have been. It is never too late to become who we really are. Dave Chappelle says, give it to those who don't deserve it. Yeah. All right. That's it. That's all, folks. We'll see you guys on Sunday. Bye, y'all.
Thank you, brother, everybody, for the shares.
Yes. Bye, everybody.